Well, hello and welcome to Tennis Asia TV. Today I'm joined by Leah, and I'm very excited to be getting stuck into this preview of the 2026 Australian Open women's main draw for the singles event. And yeah, it's been a pretty interesting day because obviously we've had the draw, but then also we've had the qualification event, which finished actually pretty successfully for the women's side in terms of Asian players that we're talking about. I mean, I can just have a little look at. I'm going to try and get the screen up actually. I got it here from my Twitter. So you can see there as the women's qualifiers have already been placed in the AO draw, and we're going to talk about that in a bit there, but you've got Bai, Zhou Xuan, and Himeno Sakatsumi, Tara Rudi, Yuan Wei. Two of those players, the Sakatsumi and Tara Rudi, qualifying for their first major. Leah, how are you doing? Have you had time to see any tennis today or catch up on the main draw?
Yeah, I think I saw some of the United Cup and a bit of Auckland, and then now
Mm.
Hobart and Adelaide is going on. So I have seen some, but not a lot, definitely. But and also yes, quickly seen the draw earlier. So excited
Yeah,
to get to all of there's so many Asian players also in this draw, so that's pretty exciting for obviously us who watch out for Asian players.
yeah. And talking about that, obviously I post all about the Asian players. It's been a quite exciting day in terms of the qualification and all that. But also, we've got this little factoid here, which is that seemingly for the first time ever, four players representing Southeast Asian nations are going to feature in a Grand Slam singles main draw.
That's so
Obvious,
cool.
yes, and we spent a long time trying to work out if when was the last time, and we've had three in the draw before. I mean, I think we had because we had like a couple of players from Indonesia, like Wijaya, and then Thai players as well. But this was going back to what 2002 or so, or 2003, 2004. So that kind of time period. So it's been over 20 years since we've had anything close to this. But now we've got four players in. Obviously, Alex Eala from the Philippines, where you are, where you're from, and then also Janice Chen. I mean, you knew those players were going to be in the draw because their rankings were high enough. They're near top 50. But of course, we've got two more players from Thailand, which is pretty exciting. Manan Chaya Sawangkao, who she's actually been. So that's interesting because she's been injured for a while, or she was injured last year, and she got up to career high 100 in the rankings. But obviously, timeout. She gets a protected ranking, and she used that ranking of 100 to enter now her first slam. So she's in a direct entry into the main draw. But her, fellow Thai player Tara Rudi, she had to qualify, and she had a very, very good qualifying campaign. She came through. It wasn't an easy run because she came through against Sofia Costalos in straight set, and then Harriet Dart in three sets, and she bageled Harriet Dart in the first set, and then she came through today against Lily Tagger, who
Wow,
is
that's
a
amazing.
huge
Yeah.
prospect, 17 years of age, but she came through 6-3, 6 love. And yeah, that's another Thai player in the main draw for the first time. Both those Thai players making their debuts at a slam. And all four of these Southeast Asian players are playing the Australian Open for the first time.
Right.
So obviously a lot to look forward to, and in terms of the actual draw, I'm going to try and move on to that because I've got it up here, and I think the best way I think we're going to do is go through each section of the draw, and we're going to have a little chat about obviously the Asian players and how overall you think the sections are going to go, and in the end, maybe who's going to win the whole competition? Okay, so in front of you, you can see the
Yes.
draw there. Okay, so first of all, what stands out to you there?
I mean, I think I saw a bit of Sabalenka's matches where she won recently, right? So there are a bunch of players here that can cause her some problems, but I do think it's definitely her section to get through. Like I don't see her not getting through the quarters at the very least. I
Yeah,
think. But yeah.
yeah,
And I mean, but it's pretty the cool first round match between Raducanu and Sawangkai was probably really cool for her. Like I mean, that's a pretty cool first round match for her.
yeah.
For
That's yeah. Of course, it's cool, right? I mean, to get a seeded player like that, obviously former U.S. Open champion, big high-profile player. They're, she's probably going to be put on a pretty big court, right? I don't know what court it's going to be. So that's exciting. I think, it seems like, there'll be a few Thai fans around as well. And then, yeah, it's interesting because I think for Sawankau, she actually obviously had that injury, but she played at the Southeast Asian Games tennis, right?
yeah,
And she got to
the
the
final.
final. Yeah, finished runner up to Alex Eala. Um, so she got the silver medal.
Yeah.
Um, and she came through against Janice Chen in that semi. I think Janice retired after one set, but um, yeah, and then and also like after that, she started off this year. She played a 75 in her home country and won the tournament in straight sets all the way through. So that's interesting to me because she's probably just feeling in a good space right now, right? So she's no pressure to go into this. She's got to be excited. And then obviously Raducanu um, hasn't had the best start this year.
She, I actually feel like Mananchaya might win this first round. Like considering Emma's form right now, she's very rusty. Her
Mm.
levels aren't like it fluctuates. I've seen two of her matches, and that's the impression that I got. So I
Mm.
think, yeah, she definitely has a chance. Like, maybe 55-45 or like 50-50. It's close. But we
Okay.
didn't see that the last time. I think Janice and Raducanu met, and then it was very straightforward for Emma's favor. So
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like that's a strange thing. It's like I think with Emma, I think she is playing at a high level, but she still throws in these performances like against. I mean, today no one really expected her to because a lot of people were thinking that maybe this is her chance to actually win a title in Hobart, but she lost to
right.
unseeded Tyler Preston. Um, in straight set 6-2, 6-4. I mean, Tyler Preston's still young and on the up, but it's not like the kind of result that fills you with confidence. She didn't have the best time at United Cup. I'm surprised though that you're saying it's going to be 50-50 though with Solanke. So you're giving big backing there to the Thai player.
No, it's more because of Emma's form, I think, and because you said that Sawang Kayo has like some sort of momentum going
Mm.
into it. That she has nothing to lose. I think it's more about, yes, Emma's form, and also how Mananchaya will handle being. They're probably gonna be put in a biggerish stage, so
Mm.
how she's gonna handle that level of pressure, or like, obviously there's no pressure on her, but of still being put on a big court or like a show court is still going to be a very interesting
Yeah.
experience. It can be overwhelming. So I think just because of that, but who knows, like, there's still a couple of days to go. Maybe Emma can like course correct and right the ship. I mean, she's not playing horrible. It's more of um her focus sort of goes in and out. I think that's the problem. And I feel like probably it's been pretty rainy in Hobart right now, and that might be making an impact as well. So maybe if there's hotter conditions in Melbourne, that might make a difference also. So I think there's a lot of variables at play. That's why I give Mananchaya a pretty good chance. Like this is a good chance for her. Like if I were part of her team, like I would be saying this is like a good chance for second.
Yeah, and I've seen a little bit of her matches. Sawanko, she actually obviously had an injury last year, but her kind of breakthrough onto the WTA tour was at towards the end of 2024. She
Mhm.
played some WTA events, got some wins there, and she also played. So she does have sort of big stage experience because she played a 1,000 event and got to the second round, and then she played Sabalenka.
Yes.
So she did lose to Sabalenka, but she gave a pretty good account of herself,
Right.
in the first set. And I think it finished 6-4, 6-1 to Sabalenka. A lot of players who play Sabalenka for the first time lose by worse score lines than that. So,
Yes.
um, yeah, so maybe that's going to help her a little bit. But also, like, played at Southeast Asian Games recently. I mean, she was well beaten by Alex Eala, but in the end. But these experiences, she has that. So I mean, maybe unlike with Janice, she was coming in suddenly. She's in the big court, and she hadn't had too much experience at the top level up to that point. But yeah. But it's going to be interesting, basically, to see how she handles that, because she's quite a good athlete and quite a fighter on the court. She's maybe not, she's not the biggest player, but I think that's maybe got the potential to get under Emma's skin a little bit,
Yeah.
So be interesting to see how that goes. And then obviously the other Asian player qualifier in there, Bai, who is from China. She is Bai Zhou Xuan.
In her play, interestingly.
You haven't seen her play?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, because she was out injured for a while, right? And she came into the qualies with a protected ranking,
Okay.
but she has been up at like 83 in the world, so her rank has gone right down. But then, obviously, yeah, I did have an eye on her and wondered like what's her condition, but she's come through quali, so yeah, good for her to get through. I mean, Pavlyuchenkova is not an easy first round draw, and of course, if she does get through, probably going to lose to Sabalenka, right? So that's about as far as we can imagine. Sakatsumi also qualifying for her first slam. Great for her. I mean, I noticed that she'd done very well at the end of last season, so I thought that she might be able to qualify. She did do that. Quite not the biggest player, but she's got quite a decent down ground strokes, but maybe not huge power, but she grinds well from the baseline. And um but she's up against Katie McNally, who's quite a tough
Yeah.
player. I mean, out of unseeded, let's say, players in the first round, it's not that easy. So yeah, it's going to be a good test. I think one thing that stands out for me is Victoria Mboko as well. What are your thoughts on how she'll do in this section?
I mean, I see it being her and Sabalenka in the fourth round. I think based on this section, and she just beat Madison Keys today, in three sets earlier in Adelaide, I think. And she's been. I mean, she definitely has the power to go toe to toe with Sabalenka, but she can get frustrated during the match when things aren't going her way, and sometimes she loses her range, especially on the forehand. Like she can make a lot of errors on that side.
Mm.
But I mean, she can beat Sabalenka, but I would still give the advantage to Sabalenka given her record in Australia and how well she's been playing. Like she is not playing around. Like from the start that she's had this year is pretty scary. Like if I were in the field, I'd be like, yeah, she's the one to
Yeah.
look out for.
I mean, I always wonder that about Sabalenka. I always think like, how is she not just beating everyone all the time? But then, it doesn't happen because not everyone can. But yeah, Mboko, yeah, I mean, I think obviously huge potential, huge upside, but she's still 19, so she's still going to have maybe ups and downs. So, but going to be interesting though. This is a chance for her, and obviously great a chance for her if she can get through and play Sabalenka to really see where she is right now. Okay, so we spent a long time on that top section. Let's move down the draw a
There
bit. So,
were
uh,
interesting Asian
we'll
players.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll come back and when we talk about that in terms of who's going to win the tournament. But looking down the draw, section two, no Asian players. Well, I mean, actually, there is Yulia Putintseva represents Kazakhstan. She's drawn against Adad Maya though, and that's quite a tough first round match.
Probably
I
gonna
don't.
be three sets, knowing Haddad might like all her match always three sets. So this one probably gonna be three sets.
And whoever gets through that probably losing to Kostyuk. I don't know. Kostyuk at the moment is looking pretty good. So yeah. Who else do you think is going to come out this section?
I mean, Alexandrova was to playing really well the latter end of last year, right? But I think her start is
Mm,
okay here, and I think if she's on, like she can beat pretty much anyone in front of her. It's just a matter of like her consistency match to match to match within like throughout the week. So I mean, probably her. Um,
well, Eva Jovic is there as well. That's interesting.
that's true. Like she is also playing pretty well, and she might get to. I would say, yeah, she has a pretty doable path to the fourth round.
Mm,
I think. I mean, Jasmine, I haven't seen her play this year actually, but I think she didn't start that well. Like, not a
mm,
lot of wins. She played United Cup, right? And like, I think she did an exhibition with Rybakina. So
right.
but of course, Jasmine definitely very experienced, and so it's probably maybe still going to be Jasmine versus Ekaterina. So I would say I think that's pretty, or maybe Kosho because she is playing
Yeah.
really well. So
Kostyuk has definitely impressed me. And if she makes it through to that fourth inning, maybe the quarters, I wouldn't surprise me at all looking at the draw as well. Okay, I'm gonna move down then. This is a pretty interesting section, of course. The standout player from an Asian perspective is Alex Eala there, and you have to say, I think pretty good first round draw. What do you think?
I mean, yes, because just looking at Alicia's current form, but the thing with Alicia is when she's on, she can pretty much serve you out of the court if she is like on a good serving day. But the good news I feel for Alex is that she really does well against players who has a lot of power and plays first strike tennis because she can make them make a lot of errors just by
Mm,
going too much from the start. So it's a pretty good matchup for her. I think if she serves well, she can definitely. That's a very winnable first round, but her second round that's gonna be tricky if it's Mukova, which is likely. Although Jacqueline Christian is a good player, who knows? She might cause an upset. But yeah, I think that's a winnable match. It depends to me on um what Parks will bring on that day, but I also feel like she might be the type of player who might get annoyed by the level of support that Alex is gonna get.
Yeah,
And we know that it's gonna be loud and gonna be constant. So I think it might kind of bother her that and see how she deals with that level of support.
yeah. And as Coco Goff was saying, maybe yeah, as an American, she might not have his quite that support that Eala is going to bring. But you know, yeah, I think with Parks, yeah, you said like she's got that big serve, but Eala, I mean, her returning at the moment is kind of ridiculously good at times. It might take her a little bit of moment to sort of adjust to the serve, but it's at some point that she's gonna
Right.
start banging in those returns, and I think yeah that could get under Park's skin, and even if she because if Fiala is able to make those returns and just get a lot of balls back, I mean I don't think she's going to want to get into long rallies that and that's gonna, you'd expect the Eala to come out on top. So I think, yeah, and obviously did well with the semi final run in Auckland. You expect her to get through that round, but then yeah, Mukova, who is actually yeah, she plays Christian, so it's also not an easy first round draw, but I mean Mukova's done pretty well so far this year. Right? I mean she got semis in Brisbane and beat Rybakina, right? So and Alexandrova. So this is not it's form that I look at and go, well, I want to face Mukova. No, this is Carolina Mukova um, is going to be a tough one, and but again, it's a kind of a yeah. That's it. The only thing that worries me, yeah, so because Mukova when she's on, she's kind of we know that Alex likes to kind of counterpunch a bit and sort of she doesn't mind playing big hitters, but Muko is a kind of player that she could just hit you off the court before you have time to even respond, right?
Has a lot of tools. Like she can use multiple things. Like
Mm,
she can serve and volley just to disrupt your rhythm. She can pull off a drop shot out of nowhere. I mean, she has
yeah,
so many things that she can do. Like it's just not
very
necessarily
true.
baseline. So yeah, I think if Alex gets to the second round and Mukova's on the other side of the net, that's really a tough ask at this point. I would say.
So you don't see Ala getting through past the second round?
Of course I want to see her pass, however far she can get.
Mm,
It's I just want to be realistic. I think it's pretty hard
yeah,
to get. I think anyone in this draw seeing Mukova, that's gonna be a challenge. Probably only Coco is not that scared because she has a better H to H against Carolina, I think. So that I think yeah.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, with Mukova,
I
yeah, it's
for Alex, but I am realistic.
yeah. I think yeah, but there's still yeah, like you said, like with Christian, it's possible she could get a win because slams are funny sometimes. You always
Right.
get we always think, oh, this is going to go this way. It never goes quite how you expect it. So, yeah,
Exactly.
if it's a big if Christian wins, then perhaps that opens the way for I mean, Navarro's not been
Playing
brilliant of late, and then Lynette, she's playing. So you never know what's going to happen, and then
I mean,
looking else. So yeah,
yeah, I feel like I still give her a chance, of course, Alex. It's just gonna be hard. But she never backs down from a hard challenge anyway. So, when we're there, let's see. But definitely looking at this, the draw, I would say it's probably Coco getting out of this section. I mean, she's played really well in Australia the last couple of years. Like I think last year was quarters and the year before was semifinals, I think. But Rakhimova is not an easy first round. I've seen her play. She is very feisty and she fights for everything. So
And of
that
course, newly switched to Uzbekistan, right? So,
I didn't
um,
know that she switched. Okay.
yeah. So one of a couple of players who've done that. But yeah, I think it's still a first round that you would expect Goff to get through, and then potentially she could be playing Venus Williams in the second round. Um,
Yeah, that's cool. If she, yeah.
Tough ask for Williams to get through against Danilovic, of course, is a much younger player. But yeah, I mean, really, yeah, you're thinking probably in the conditions and as well, you thinking that Coco has got a great shot of making the quarters there. And of course, if she was to make the quarters, it'll be someone from this section that she would face. Um, this is actually interesting. No Asian players here, but this one seems a little bit more unclear to me to who's actually going to come out of it. I don't know. What do you think? What stands out for you in this section four?
Hmm. Honestly, I think the person who stands out to me in this section is Vitalina. Like
Mm,
the way she played in that final was so impressive. Like she wasn't broken once. She's playing really focused. I think
mm,
and she usually does well in slams. Like she usually gets to the fourth round, quarters more or less if she's not injured. So her and Andreeva, but wow, that is an intense first round match against Bekic. That's
mm.
like you. If I were her, I'm seeded eighth, and my first round is Bekic. That's gonna be annoying. And she's also not. She's playing well, but not amazing. I would
Mm.
say now, but she is in. I think the semifinals. She'll play against Schneider, I think, tomorrow. So who knows if she this week goes well and she builds momentum. Andreeva might also
Yeah.
like the person to come out of this section. And then of course there's Krejcikova, who you can never count out no matter what's happening with her, whether she's injured, she's unseeded, like she generally causes chaos in a draw. So I wouldn't also count her out a bit. And yeah, I think
And you mentioned Snyder actually, because she's drawn
yes.
against Krejcikova there, so that's an interesting first round. And then you've got, um, yeah, I mean, I think obviously Svitolina's playing Buksha, um, and yeah, Andreeva against Vekic, but also Sakari there, who she could face in the second round. So a little bit tricky there for Andreeva if she can get through though. Maybe yeah, probably with her way, her trajectory, you'd be hoping that she'd be able to get through to that fourth round, and then yeah, maybe it's going to be Svitolina. I mean, Svitolina, another great start to the year, and it was 19 titles she's now won, and it was out of 23 finals. I mean, that's just tremendous, really. And yeah, I mean, based on that, you would fancy her chances to go through. She has a little bit of an easier run than some of those other players, and I think sometimes it's just about what, because I think every tournament player start a bit nervous, and getting through that first round is like always like the big thing, and then once you do that, and the confidence is back, and yeah, so yeah, definitely looking at what Svitolina's got there. I don't think Fran Jones will be a massive, because that's the other player that stands out maybe, but I think she'll be able to get through that, and then yeah, so that's that the top half. We're gonna have to move down to the bottom half. And this is the section which has Janice Chen there. You can see Janice Chen playing also her first Australian Open main draw, but she's drawn against the number 22 seed, Leila Fernandez, and of course, former US Open runner up. Um, yeah. What are your thoughts on this particular matchup? Because they haven't played before.
Right. Um, they're both not coming in the Australian Open with pretty good form, I think. But I would give the advantage to Leila just because of the the relative experience, even though they're around the same age. But of course,
Mm,
she's on tour for longer. She's experienced more big matches, and I feel like the way she plays, she can take advantage of Janice's backhand.
mm,
Uh, that like she can probably target that a lot, and
yeah.
especially her lefty. Um, she's lefty, so I think it's probably gonna be, but it's going to be an interesting match. But I feel like it's Layla that has the advantage in this matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that that's obviously going to be an issue, and I know Janice is going to be aware of that, like her backhand, and players have been targeting it. I think it was most exposed against Eva Jovic in that match at times. But Jovic has got maybe a bit more power in terms of, she's a bit more aggressive to that wing, and it was quite tough sometimes. And yeah, that's going to be an issue for Janice because she just tends to hit the slice, and although that shot can be quite good at times, it's other times it's a bit disappointing, and it doesn't quite have the consistency that she maybe needs. And I think in the first match she played this year against Cartal, she was trying to hit some topspin backhands, but it was like maybe she'd been practicing that, but then she seemed to sort of abandon that at some point. I think just go back to what she was used to. And yeah, I guess it's not that easy when you've been playing,
Right.
those slice backhands so much, and probably she's had success with it. It's just now you're at this higher level, you've got to deal with players who know how to expose your weaknesses, and they're not going to have these they're going to be playing at a higher level. So yeah, it's against Layla, with her big game experience. I mean, you gotta hope that Chen just sort of maybe comes out, pressure off a little bit because she's obviously had more experience now at this level. Maybe and maybe hope that because Fernandez is at least not got huge power, so maybe she's going to have time to get into the rallies a bit and sort of start to impose her game a bit more. Because she's got a good forehand, and she can be quite a dominant player herself at times. So yeah, but it's based on how the year started. It's not looking great, and of course, if they were to get through, it's potentially Karolina Pliskova in that
Or
second round, or Sloane Stevens as well. Yes.
qualified, right?
Oh yeah. So
That's
yeah, we
gonna
got
regardless of who gets there.
of course Sloane, former US Open champion. That was quite a long time ago now, but um, and Madison there in the section. Obviously, last year's Australian Open champion. Big pressure for her though to sort of back that up, right?
I mean, and also she doesn't seem to be in like the same kind of form as she was in last year's Australia Open. Like she came into Australia with the title and she was unbeaten, right? Like as she
Mm,
was through the Australian Open, and that's not the same case for her right now. So I think she still might be a little bit carrying maybe like
mm-hmm,
something. Um so and of course everyone's going to be wanting to target her as well. So being the defending champion. So yeah, that's gonna be tough for her. But of course, she went through a lot of tough matches last year. So we know that she can grit out a match and a tournament. So
I
who
think the
knows?
first
Find her form, right?
Yeah, and then I think like obviously the first two rounds that she will have there is not too bad for her, so she's a bit lucky in that sense because looking at some of the other names of the draw unseeded, could have been worse, but
I
perhaps
mean,
yeah. For
Kruger can
huh?
on a good day, Kruger I think can bother her.
Right.
Um, I haven't seen her play lately. I don't know if she's been injured or something, but
Yeah,
I haven't seen her play lately.
yeah, no doubt there's going to be pressure for her. Um, Other player in there is obviously Zarina Diaz from Kazakhstan. She got in a wild card because I think she won the playoff, the Asia Pacific playoff to get a wild card. She's drawn against Paula Badoza though. That's going to be difficult, of course. I'm not really sure about her form, Diaz, coming into this. I'm not seeing too much of that. So don't think she's got a great shot there, to be honest. But I would say perhaps though, um, I don't know, maybe Pegula's got a good chance to maybe
Yeah.
get through here, doesn't she?
Yes, definitely has a good chance. I mean, she's been playing okay. Like
Mm.
it's not a horrible start. She's had like losses that kind of are were baffling. But sometimes that happens to her. Like sometimes she just gets beaten in a weird score line. But I think in general she's playing pretty well.
Mm.
So I would say she and
It's an
yeah,
interesting section actually, because like you said, I don't think anyone's been playing like tremendously.
yeah.
Like,
Like unlike the other sections where you've had people who won or got to the final of a tournament recently. I think this section is a bit of a there are people with a lot of potential. I think like, Badosa, Layla, Sloan, Pliskova, Madison, Jessica, they can all get to the fourth round. It just a
yeah,
matter like what they're bringing during this week. And yeah,
yeah,
this is an interesting section.
yeah, potential
It's
maybe
also
for a surprise.
pretty good too.
Yeah, for Tennis Asia, we hope Chen can somehow peak, but yeah, we're not too sure about that. Looking down, then we're going to go to section 6. A few different Asian players here. Um, we've got Zhang Shuai, who is back up in the top 100 after having a pretty terrible time a couple of years ago, but she's back up and doing pretty well and confident. She's drawn against Preston, who yeah, is still playing in Hobart, right?
Yes.
And who just beat Maradukana, right? But um, yeah, she gets in with a wild card. I'm not. That's an interesting first round. It's going to be a test. I mean, perhaps Zhang can get the win there. Don't
I
know if
think
Preston's.
for Zhang Shuai. So
And then obviously Wang Xinyu, who was the finalist in Auckland, she draws Kalanina, the qualifier. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Because do
I
you think
mean,
that's a bit
yeah,
tricky?
Shinyu is in pretty good form, right? Er, Getting to the final. Um, she should have like a lot of confidence. I think she went to Hobart immediately after winning
Mm,
and won her first round but lost her second round, which is understandable given what she just did for a week, right?
yeah,
Kalinina is actually a good player. I think she was injured and that's why her ranking fell off. But I've seen a few of her matches and she's a pretty good athlete and I foresee like a lot of baseline exchanges between the two of them. I think the key for Shinyu is serving well. Like if
mm,
she's able to serve well and also to keep the pressure on her opponent. Like I think that's um sometimes what happens to her. Like she obviously with the Alex Ayala match, she was leading like 5-1 and she lost
Mm.
that set. And I've seen that happen to her a couple of times too. So yeah, but I think she's in a good spot to get to maybe even like the third round or
Yeah, and actually in that final against Vitalina, she actually played very well, but
yeah.
it was just like the few points here or there where maybe nerves, but also I think it was just sort of her trying to do too much in certain points, like not keeping it simple. She's trying to like rather than going into the space, she's trying to maybe second guess Vitalina and go the other way, and it was like it didn't seem like the smartest thing to do. But those are things. Maybe she hadn't been in a final for it was a big opportunity for her, but yeah, I think hopefully she's able to carry that sort of confidence forward in this match. And if she gets through, who knows? She can maybe beat, I mean, Shramkova or Ostapenko in the second round. I mean, of course, with Ostapenko, you kind of never really know what Ostapenko's going to turn up.
Is Shinyu now the highest ranked Chinese player with Chinwen out of the tournament?
Oh yes, so in the draw, I guess so because yeah, Chinwen's not
Right.
playing right, so not the highest because I think Chinwen in the rankings is still the highest
Right.
Chinese player, but
In the drawing.
yeah, in the draw, I think you're right.
Okay.
But still unseeded. But who knows? Maybe this is a chance for her to get her ranking up because
Yeah.
I feel like yeah, she's got a lot of talent and maybe hasn't quite sort of filled her potential yet. But it's
Yeah.
going to be I would like to see her maybe have a slam run because we've seen she did well in the Masters, not the 1000 event at home, but yeah, I think she's got potential to do well in some of these bigger tournaments. So,
I
but
agree.
um,
I hope she does well. Like her getting to like the third round or the fourth round might be fun. I mean, Noskova's waiting, but she's also I think she was injured. Like she withdrew in one of the tournaments, so that might still be an opportunity for her if they do meet in the third round.
looking overall though at this section, got Noskova, obviously Ostapenko, Kenin, Anisimova. I think probably Anisimova is the player you expect to come out this section.
I don't see anyone troubling Anisimova in this section. I think like she's gonna get through this pretty
Yeah,
easily. Yeah.
this is actually yeah, it looks really good for her. And then even on this side, you're thinking, yeah, it's the Anisimova is just in terms of she's just ready to hit any of these players off the court. I think so. That's the way where she is right now, and that's why she's the fourth seed here. So yeah, it's definitely one of the sections that looks more clear cut. But let's move down. So section 7, which has Rybakina at the top. She is drawn against Kaya Yuvan. Uh, I don't think this is looking too bad for Rybakina, but um, having said that, I mean, yeah, the first two rounds should be okay for her. I'm looking further along though, and I think some interesting little section here. We've got Lulu Sun Fruhirtova, Teresa Valentova, and gets Maya Join. Those are two very talented players to take on each other in that first round. That's pretty interesting.
Fun.
Um, do you think any of these players could threaten Rebecca in the third round?
I mean, I've seen Provertova and Valentova and obviously Maya play. They would have to play like out of their minds, I think, to trouble Rybakina. Especially with the form that she's had. Yes, she lost to Mukova, but her game right now is
Mm.
really steady and very strong, and she's really able to use her serve. to get herself out of tough situations. So even if, for example, like baseline to baseline, they might get the better of her or get a few break points, I think her serve will save her in those moments, in those tough moments. So I think, yeah, I would say she's gonna get to the fourth round at the very least.
Yeah, I think out of maybe Valentova, if she's
Yeah.
playing really well, she could get through. But again, she's probably not guaranteed to get through against Joint. Obviously, the Aussie player at home, and yeah, it's tough there. And then, of course, we need to talk about Lanlana Tararudi, who is playing her first major main draw, and she gets drawn against the 21st seed Elise Martins. So obviously, straight in against a big player like that is it's a very tough first round draw. But what are your what are your thoughts on that? Does she have any chance?
I mean, I actually was going to ask you because I have never seen Tarazuki play. So, like, how would you describe her game? What
She's
are
definitely a very athletic baseline player. I think that she's pretty good off both wings, and she did. Yeah, she's definitely one player to sort of stick behind the baseline. And I was actually, she's very, kind of like, she's quite, quite emotional. She has a lot of come ons and screams and stuff like that, and she's uh but I was very impressed today because obviously she came through against Lily Tiger 6-3 6 love, and yeah, it was obviously Tiger was done very well to come through to get to that final round, but then Tara Rudy was totally on top. Really, I mean, she really wanted it. You could tell that, and then Tiger's playing with that kind of she plays with a one-handed backhand, and although it's a very good shot, I felt like Tara Rudy was her backhand's quite good, the cross. So it she was able to sort of get her on the back foot a bit, and actually, I think when she was pushed back a bit, it was a bit of a vulnerability for the young player. So yeah, obviously it's going to be different when you're playing a player like Mertens, though. So and Mertens did really well actually at the United Cup.
that's true.
So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think in my mind, it's either going to be a pretty one-sided win for Mertens, or perhaps Tara Rudy can sort of impress and keep it close because she's got something about her in terms of she does seem like a tough player on the court. So yeah, it's always interesting to me to see because sometimes you do get players on their debuts that surprise you. It doesn't always happen, but it doesn't happen a lot. But yeah, it's a nice little test to see where she is. I think either way, she's in that first round and she'll get a big prize money. So let's see how it goes. I think it's just nice maybe for Thai tennis fans to have two players in the draw,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
yeah.
that's a tough first round, but I think whether or not she wins, it's gonna be um, like a learning opportunity for her, especially Mertens. I feel like Mertens is one of those players, like, it's a litmus test for how well you play against like on average she's just really good at beating anyone who's ranked below her, or like she usually wins the matches that she should win. More or less, I would say, especially when she's in good form like she is now. That's a tough first round, but also a good experience for her, whether or not, I mean, there are the wins or not, but probably probably, as you said, one-sided
Mm.
on Britain's favor.
Yeah, let's see if she can keep it competitive. It's going to be it may be good exposure for her anyway to get that exposure, in her home country. Also, there is uh, Moyuka Ichijima, who, to be honest, I mean, she hasn't been doing too well until she broke through. Actually, she lost a whole bunch of matches last season, now that I remember it, because she got to the quarters in Madrid and then just started losing loads of matches after that. And yeah, that's just sometimes how tough tennis can be. You can, that's just, on the tour, there's a lot of good players, and then suddenly you find yourself losing confidence. And yeah, I mean, here, Solana Sierra. I'm not too sure. It's even if Uchijima does get through, yeah, it's probably Mertens there, and I don't expect an upset. Um, in this section, you would still be saying probably Rybakina is going to get through. I mean, Bencic is a potential fourth round for her. Sakina, I suppose, is also there. I mean, she's potentially could cause an upset here, but she hasn't been doing particularly well recently. What do you
Yeah.
think?
I only saw one match of her against Zachary, which she won. Um, but she also like when I okay, I saw the first set. I think I didn't see the second set. She had a lot of chances to get ahead in that set and wasn't able to capitalize and had to win it in a tie break, which she did well at. Yeah, I think if she goes against Bencic's form right now, she's playing really well. Like she's been very impressive all throughout the United Cup. I
Yeah, she
think
won all her matches, right? So
yeah, and even her doubles matches, she won. She lost the the most important doubles match, but the other ones she won. Um, but the thing with bench is that she plays really well when she's representing Switzerland. Um,
mm,
it might not necessarily have the same kind of fervor. But she did get to the semis of Wimbledon last year, right? So I
yeah,
think I think if it's Bencic and Rybakina, I give Bencic a chance. Like she can cause Rybakina trouble with like how aggressive she is, and also she is great at coming forward and winning points at the net. So I
yeah.
mean,
With Rebecca, it's just a case. I mean, for me, it's like she had a tremendous end to the year, right? She played really well, but it for me, it's I mean, for the last year, obviously playing winning WTA finals, but then it's a question of can she carry that forward now? Because I think that's sort of she's playing really well, but it's now is the time that she needs to bring it forward. I mean, she had lost to Mukova in Brisbane, but as I say, well, I don't always think that you can read too much just from the warm up tournaments, like because you mean like we were talking about the United Cup, like oh they're doing great, but there's been quite a few times where players have done well there, and it's a little bit disappointing when they actually came to the Australian Open. So, like you said, it's a little bit different kind of atmosphere. It's a different kind of pressure. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm just curious, really, because I think she has a good opportunity to go through here, Rybakina. Can she actually deliver this time? And I'm
Probably between the two of them, I would say,
yeah.
Ben or Rybakina.
Okay, let's move down to the last section to round up. Very exciting section, I think. Obviously, at the top of the draw, you've got Naomi Osaka. At the other side, Iga Swiatek. Okay, let's first talk about Osaka because obviously 16th seed, that's good for her. And I was thinking, oh, 16th seed, that's great because you don't have to play like one of the big seeds until later. I mean, but then she gets Swiatek in her section. Um, but first against Antonia Rujic, I mean, I don't think that's too bad for her. But then she maybe has to play Christea or Ivelisse in the second round, and I
Yeah.
feel like that's quite tricky. What are your thoughts?
Costs her an upset, I think.
Mm.
Either, either way, if it's Sarana or if it's Eva, I think um that's a potential upset. Although of course if Naomi is serving well,
Mm.
she should get through that second round match. It's just that her serve recently isn't the weapon that it was before, and
Mm.
then it doesn't really get her a lot of free points that it used to.
Mm.
Um Although yeah, as you said, like the warm-up tournaments might not necessarily be the great indicator because she was sick, I think, when she was playing. Was it Auckland? Or, I don't remember which
The
tournament.
United, she had played the United Cup, and
Oh,
then she
yeah.
she
Yeah.
lost to Sakari quite badly, and then but yes, she was sick. She said she was, I think she was sick or something since December, and like she just hadn't had the ideal preparation, and but it just I don't know, like it's a bit strange because like with Osaka, I mean, obviously she had a great she ended up having a great season last year, right? Overall, and at one point I was thinking maybe she's not going to get back to that sort of even top 20 level, but then she did manage to have some great tournaments. Obviously, semi-final run in US Open, but then starting off this year, it just made me a little bit because you're thinking, are we? Is she going to be able to start competing again for the big tournaments? And I guess we'll have to see. I'm just a bit worried for her for the Evilise potential in that second round. If she can get through those, though, I do think yeah, she can get through, and then but
Well,
the question is,
there she might also cost her
yeah,
some trouble if they do meet in the third round. So that's also like a potential, yeah.
well, that's the
Challenge.
thing. It's like, what version of Osaka are we going to see? If we know that if she, this is also where she's won twice, right? This tournament. If she can serve well, we know how good she is from the back of the court. She can beat anyone. It's just a case of is she actually gonna? And it's kind of like that with maybe less with Rybakina because I expect her to perform at a certain level. But with Naomi, she's still, although she had that 2025 last season, it, it it was more just sort of the latter half of the year. So it's not, yeah. Can she continue this for a longer period? We've not seen that yet. So yeah, maybe could have been worse the draw, but
Yeah.
it's
I think pretty good workable draw,
yeah.
honestly, for her. Like I would be happy with the draw.
Yeah, so let's see if she can build some rhythm. Down here, though, we've got Yuan Wei, who qualified, um, and I did have sort of expectations or hopes that she would qualify, and she did. She's rewarded with a match against Iga Swiatek, and I looked at Yuan Wei's record because she'd played the last 8 main draws of a slam,
Oh,
um, but she lost in the first round, I think, in all of them. And unfortunately, I think it's going to be the same this time. But at least she
like
qualified. I mean, yeah,
run against Iga. That's so tough.
yeah.
Yeah. But at least she get I mean it's a chance for it to get her ranking up at least by qualifying and
Mm. You get the
start
prize
build,
money and all that.
yeah, start building again. I think she's a pretty I saw her play in 2004 in Seoul in
Mm.
I think twice. She's actually a really good player. I think it's more she's not consistent throughout the match, but you know that she has potential to be like
Yeah,
constant, maybe like top 70, top 60.
yeah. She's got a good, pretty good on both sides from the back of the court, and she's got quite a good mentality, I think, on the court at times. Yeah, but yeah, like you say, it's just not always consistent. But I definitely think, yeah, she's too good to be having to qualify. She probably should be in the top 100 and a bit higher, right? So yeah, it's nice that she is there, and you're thinking, well, probably it's going to be Swiatek that gets through this section, but yeah, I really hope actually that we do get Osaka against Swiatek in that fourth round because yeah, I think the last time they played in the Slam was it that French Open?
I think so.
Yeah, and that
And
turned out
that
to be
wasn't that a second round or something?
yes, it was a second round.
Yeah.
And no one
I would
really
love
gave
to see
Osaka
them
the sorry.
play. Sorry, I would love to see them play a fourth round. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
Kartal and Kalinskaya there is the first round there. That's an interesting one. Do you think Kartal has it in her to maybe cause an upset there?
I mean, I think she has the game
Hmm.
for it. It depends on how I think how well Kalinskaya is serving, which is usually like her game is very dependent on how well she's able to serve and set up the first strike. But I think Sone has the game to cause an upset in this case. Kalinskaya isn't also playing that great. I mean, she's playing okay, but not great. Um,
Yeah, like Kartal's interesting because I think yeah she's not like the biggest player, but she's quite crafty and she has a little bit of in some ways quite well rounded. So yeah, it's if she's playing well, she can trouble a lot of players. But yeah, so it could be a good match. So we've come through, spent a lot of time in this, about an hour. So let's review this. Okay, so I mean, obviously we've had time to look through everyone. Do you have any picks for um who you think is going to win this based on the draw?
you mean the entire
The
Australian Open?
entire tournament, yeah. Or do you like or any thoughts about who's going to get semis or like this kind of thing?
Not sure about semis. But I think the final might be Sabalenka Anisimova. That's my
Ooh.
vibe. That's the vibe that I get. Especially with Anisimova, I don't see really anyone troubling her if she's healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's healthy, is like there's no injury. I think she's gonna get to the final. And if it's Sabalenka on the other side, then like that's the biggest challenge for her. But who knows? She already experienced what that felt like at the US Open. So maybe she can flip the story if that happens again. That's my feel. Like I think
Yeah.
that's
I,
that's my
I
vibe. But I don't know if I'm gonna be right.
I mean I definitely agree that in terms of getting to the quarters, like they've got clearest paths, I think, in Isimova and Sabalenka, it looks most certain looking at their draws. Um, and then even yeah, especially for Sabalenka, again, I think yeah, in the semi she's going to get past that. I suppose you never know. I mean, I guess if Coco can suddenly hit form, I guess that's someone that could potentially stop her from making the final. But um, yeah, you just don't know. I mean, I think yeah, of course, clearly Sabalenka's the top player at the moment, which is with the most consistency. And let's see. I mean, let's see. Like you said, um, Anisimova, she does have a good section, so it's going to be interesting to see if she can actually deliver. In terms of a player um, out of the Asian nations, who do you think
Oh,
would have the best chance of getting through this? I think there's only
probably
really two players, but
I would say. I mean, if it's Osaka or Rybakina, I would say it's probably Rybakina.
yeah,
Uh, yeah.
I
I
would
mean,
agree.
of course, if they might meet. Anisimova in the semis, that's going to be like a very close match, even if it's Shantek, for example, in the semis. If she and Rybakina fight and she wins, um, yeah, but I just have a very good feeling about Amanda. I don't know if it's just recency bias, but I feel like she's ready. Like she is ready to take it. I just don't know if she can, if it's a Balenka who is also very motivated. Like she clearly really wants this. Like I feel like she still remembers last year and like how she wanted it so badly. So
And of
yeah.
course, I don't think it's impossible as well. We could potentially have a rematch of the US Open semi-final between Osaka and Anisimova because, obviously
Mhm.
if Osaka gets through and plays Swiatek, I think if Osaka gets through to a fourth round, she's probably going to be playing pretty well. And I think if you're against Swiatek, she's, might bring out the best of her. And of course, if she does get through that, I think, yeah, then you're thinking, well, probably, um,
Yeah.
yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But
That's and also I wanted to, I don't want to discount Iga because you, of course she's like a really good player. She's number 2. Her
mm,
form just, a little bit um patchy, I would say right now. But she might be extra motivated because the Australian Open is the only one missing from her slam
mhm.
resume. So I think she might be like very extra motivated, and that might um
Yeah,
not fix necessarily, but that might have like a different effect in her game. So I'm also not discounting that it might be her that gets to the final. Or Rybakina for that matter. I mean, she's gotten to this final before, right? 2023 or was that 22? I don't remember.
I'm just shocked and disappointed that you didn't choose Ayala to win the tournament. But oh well.
I am sadly not, I'm very realistic and I would love for her to win.
So you think that she's going to be playing the WTA 125 in Manila?
With this section, let me see.
Although of course she's playing doubles, isn't she?
Where? Here?
Isn't Eala playing doubles in the Australian Open? I
Oh,
think
I
she
thought
is. Yeah,
she, okay.
yeah. She's playing with a Brazilian player. God, what's her name? That I forgot. But so you know, potentially she'll be staying a bit longer because of that. But
Oh
uh,
no. People will be disappointed. But for me, honestly, like, I think for other fans, they might just be in it for Alex, but like the lineup, if they are the ones who might get, who will end up there because, we don't know since they might have a deep run in AO and not be able to come. But like given the lineup for a 1-2-5, that's a really good lineup for
yeah,
me. I'm super excited. Whether or not Alex gets there, I'm
I,
excited.
some of them might not play, but yeah, I think it will be good. One player that is going to probably play is Joanna Garland, who isn't that right? She's in the list.
She, oh, that's so cool. I've never heard of her until like the 1 point slam. So
Oh, really?
yeah, and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
want to see her play actually. So yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, she's got quite a nice game actually. I mean, but like just unfortunate because obviously started off well and then lost that first round qualies to Kalanina actually. Uh but yeah, that's life and yeah, I mean it was suddenly propelled to a different kind of stardom by making that final, yeah, for the 1 point slam and then of course beating Zverev and Kyrgios along the way. Yeah, that was a great idea. I mean, it actually, I think it was more than expectation. It went really well. I thought that tournament, and yeah, I hope they do it next year. Maybe they can think of a few more ideas to improve it a little bit. But yeah, looking forward to this Australian Open tournament. It's kind of an interesting draw, still a little bit unpredictable, and that's why we enjoy watching this. Thanks for joining me, Leah, for doing this draw, and I hope to maybe see you again soon.
Oh,
Um,
wait,
uh,
but I forgot to ask you who you think is gonna win it all, right? You didn't
oh,
give prediction.
oh, oh. I'm actually okay. My prediction is um, it's hard for me to really see beyond. I actually think I actually think Swiatek has a. I think she could win it, like you said. I think um, that kind of the motivation to win it. Um, I think she just might get it done, and like because we, yeah, I think there's also a possibility that Osaka doesn't actually make it as far as meeting her, and then if that is the case, and then possibly as well Rybakina, I don't know. Like I think there's still a little bit of a doubt of what is she going to be able to like. Yeah, we don't really know because so yeah, and then yeah, I think if she ends up playing because you talked about Anisimova being the one that might get through, but I think if she was maybe to come up against Iga, I think I could see Iga getting through, but we'll have to wait and see. But I still have a funny feeling that Iga, yeah, I think she's due another slam. So let's see. But yeah, yeah, you've put me on the spot, but that's it. I should be choosing a tennis Asia player there, but like, but, yeah, we'll see. I don't discount Rybakina or Osaka. Just put their chances a bit lower than some of the other players there we put it. But yeah, thanks so much, Leah, and yeah, I'm gonna have to get this out soon because the tournament's fast approaching. But yeah, hopefully maybe we can talk again maybe for later on about some of the other matches on here. But thanks so much for joining.